Anyways, welcome, Jason Society.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
welcome to the bonfire where we share stories and talk about share our struggles of how we've managed to survive living under capitalism,
Oh, it's
especially being the kind of like we are, being loving to smoking the cannabis.
oh
It's not
yeah.
always been it's not always been easy.
Oh yeah. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. I'm still working on getting I live in a legal weed state, and I'm still working on getting an undesignated felony expunged from my record. So
Oh,
yeah. No, I went through the system. Had to deal with all that shit as a cannabis user I started when I was 13. So that was back in '93. So and back in '93 in Arizona, that shit wasn't
in Arizona.
happening. That shit was not happening. No, it was fucking.
So, before we get started, can you just kind of tell everyone who you are and like where we can find you and like what you like to do?
Sure. My name is, or my handle is Jason Society, Jason_Society on Twitch, Jason Society, all one word on Twitter. I am a recovering musician. I played metal music in a band for about 13 years. And now I'm streaming on Twitch because one of my best friends spent 2 years telling me I need to do this. And I finally said, okay, I'll do it. And, so I started doing this when the band kind of fell apart, and I am a political streamer that talks a lot. Well, I guess I should say at this point I'm a little bit more of a variety streamer because I'm covering a lot of different things. I talk a lot about cannabis, I talk a lot about politics, and I talk a lot about music and culture. So, but the biggest...
Do you still make music?
I sometimes as a hobbyist now though. But
That's cool.
yeah. It's hard because I'm a singer, and that's my chief instrument, and trying to find it's more about finding instrumentalists or production or, like backing tracks that I really like that I get inspired by and want to make something out of,
Right.
I can play instruments. I play guitar, I play bass, I play drums, but I always say like this, I play it well enough to like write the framework of a song, but I never want to record myself playing that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'll bring in a hired gun to make it sound right.
I know how that is too. I mean, because like, truth be told, as I've been started streaming, like I've always kind of dabbled in art. I mean, it's funny. I have a degree in graphic arts, so it's like I have an educational background in it, and the art just I've always been surrounded by it, but I've always never been able to embrace it at all.
Mhm.
And so as I started streaming, it's become just an excuse for me to finally try to take advantage of it. And it's silly, but I like it. I mean, I just love being able to do any little bit of art, even though I'm not all that great at it.
No,
I
are you
think-
kidding? Your emotes are great. I found out the other day because I was like, who does Skid's emote? They're fucking awesome. And somebody was like, I think it was Mouselander, was like, oh, he does all his own emotes. I was like, are you serious? They're fucking cool. I love his emotes. So yeah, no,
I've gotten
you actually,
better at it too.
You get praise. I know I'm not the only one that said that too. So
It's fun. Yeah, I've gotten to make them for a few people too. There's a few other streamers who I've gotten to make emotes for, like Carpe Packs. I've animated a couple. I animated one and I created one for him, and then Dr. Buenabuen. I believe there's a couple that I put on BTTV that everyone uses.
oh
And
really?
that's the Slav Please. I'm the creator of the Slav Please.
Are you serious? Hold on, let me see.
If you've ever seen that one around. And then
Oh shit. Nice. Oh, that's fucking dope. That
And
is
then,
dope. I like that one.
and then there was a music video with this cactus. We made this cactus and I gave this one to Radical Maniac.
Oh, that's
And I
dope.
actually, what's funny is the cactus is up there. You can see it on your stream. They
Oh
can't see it
yeah,
on mine.
yeah. That's awesome. That is so cool. Yes, your emotes are fucking great, man. I totally dig them.
It's being an artist. It's and it's like, I've noticed that as I've been on Twitch, and I've noticed a lot of folks in this community are also artists, and it's funny how, like, one of those things where like fascism and the right and conservatism are very anti the arts.
Yeah,
And it's just interesting how the left is just so full of art, and it's all just like it's like I've never had more appreciation for art since I've been more exposed to a radicaler forms,
Yeah, yeah. And I'll definitely say, like, having been a musician, like, when you get to know a lot of different musicians and you're playing out a lot and because the thing with being in a band is, like, it's not like you're just meeting one person. It's usually like you're meeting 5 people, like when you collaborate with another band or you do a show with other bands, and there's, like, you have 4 bands on a set. So you're playing with, like, 3 other bands, somewhere between 3 to 5 people in each band, conservatively, and it's like, what you find is there's a lot of people that are on the left. There's a lot of people that are on the way far radical right too, because I was in the metal scene, but, like, there's a lot on the left, surprisingly a lot on the left, that play metal music that are into it.
It's funny because, like I growing up, I was always just kind of into what was like the trendy metal, and I wasn't really big into music until I was until I, like, was in late high school. One of my teachers played music for a local, like, public access radio station, and he played 60s and 50s surf music, like Dick Dale and stuff. And that kind of got me introduced into just more like a lot of lyricless music that I hadn't really paid attention to before. And then and then I when I got into smoking cannabis, I found just roots reggae.
Yeah,
I fucking love roots, like the dirty, funky ska Rasta reggae, man. It's just, it's
like some Beanie Man or Yellow Man or some shit, like all those guys.
Like Toots and the Maytals, and who did I smoke with? Fuck, man. I used to go to this show called Reggae in the River in Humboldt County, which has like it's like a super concert for a whole bunch of old reggae bands. And but that's kind of like where my introduction to, like, the drug war kind of began, because like when I first started smoking, when I first started smoking, it was like, I never had to buy it, so it was just kind of always around. So I just smoke it whenever it was around.
Wait, wait. So you were the Derek Cliche? You were the kid that got the drugs for free? Because they fucking lied to me. I didn't get the drugs for free. What the fuck, man?
All of my friends smoked. I just didn't. And then one day I was just like, oh, sure, I'll take a hit. And they're all like, holy fuck, Squid smoking? Give Squid some more.
Hell yeah.
And it was never really pressured on me. It was like, because I didn't smoke till I was 20. I had maybe taken a hit once or twice and never really got high.
Right.
But 20 was when I first, like, took a hit off a bong and got fucking blitzed out of my fucking brain. Futurama, which is why I have Futurama on my show all the time, because Futurama is like my first thing that I got exposed to when I was also getting super high.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing. I remember that being a great show to watch when I was getting high. Like, it was not that I'm not getting high anymore, but like, like when that show was really popular, is fucking awesome. Yes.
It was the Slurm episode where they go to the Slurm factory, and it's like Willy Wonka, but it's fucking with Slurm.
Oh, I remember that one. Yes, I know exactly which one you're talking about. That was so fucking good.
Oh, dying. I just remember dying, and that was kind of my entry. But like, but I lived in Santa Cruz, which was fairly progressive, and because I'm a big Irish dude, I'm not a threat to society in their views, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I never got harassed much because I only smoked at home. I didn't smoke at public.
Right.
And, you know, I just kind of did the avoidance. And then when I met this draft dodger who took me out to grow in Humboldt County.
Oh, nice.
And I became a jungle grower. And during like, have you ever seen that movie on Netflix, Murder Mountain?
Sounds familiar. I can't, give me the plot. Maybe I'll know from that.
It's about a bunch of jungle growers up in Humboldt County that like, one of them was like kind of affiliated with the sheriff's department, and they murdered someone on it, and the police department helped them cover it up.
Oh God, I vaguely remember this shit. Yes, I do. I do remember it. I like
that shit was like 40 miles away from where I was. And
That's
5 years later,
fucked. What
5 years
fuck?
later, 5 years later, and I kind of was I may have bought cannabis from some of the same people.
Oh shit.
So it's like when I remember watching that, I was like, holy fuck, this is exactly where I was. This is like one mountainside over.
Like, nope. I'm glad I'm out of there.
But well, I was lucky because I was friends with this draft dodger who was just kind of given a property for him to grow on because he was owed, because he had never really reinserted himself back into society. So even though it was like 2002, he still had never had a driver's license. He had never, you know, he lived anonymously basically because he was afraid that the draft were going to come and arrest him and,
right,
you know, force him to be in the military. That's because, you know, when he started that, it was of course the 60s, and that's when the draft was doing that, and he wasn't going to do that. So anyways, he was owed, so we got to go on this property, and that's when I got exposed to everything, like what the drug war was, to seeing how like police manufacture this endless budget to do this terrorizing for everything. Because it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think everyone in them hills is growing cannabis. I don't think there isn't one single person in Humboldt County that's not growing cannabis. But the cops, though, you know, they have these Black Hawk helicopters and would just fly through all the valleys, through everyone's properties, searching for plantations, and then, you know, raid them and steal all of their shit. So, you know, that's how I got into it.
That was your introduction. Wow.
My introduction.
That's a pretty big introduction. I mean, I was not quite as big as that as far as cannabis. When I was underage, statute of limitations is up now, and I am fucking over 18, so they can't go back and convict me for this, so I can say this. But my I guess, like, so weed was kind of the thing that I did a lot, but I also did a lot of psychedelics, and I used to fucking sell a shit ton of LSD. Like, I mean, like, mass amounts, because I was getting it for like equivalent to 50 cents a hit, and then selling it for $5 a hit, you know, and I was a kid, and it was like, money, let's go, baby, you know?
Yeah.
I made more doing that as a kid than I think I did my first 3 jobs. Like, when I got to be an adult and I had to like clean up my act and do the right thing, you know? But
the amount of
it
the
was
amount of cannabis I grew in the 2 years that I grew in jungle growing, I was able to live off of for 8 years.
holy shit. You did the
I grew
thing.
for two. I grew for 2 seasons. Grew so much. I had like 80 pounds, and I was able to circulate that 80 pounds for 8 years and not have to live off of anything else but that weed.
Fuck. That would be nice. That's a nice way to live. Yeah.
I mean, if you got 40 acres in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You just don't want to get caught. You just don't want to get caught. You know, that's the one
Right,
thing. Don't get caught. What is it House of Pain said? It ain't a crime if you don't get caught.
That's right. That's right. You know, it was funny. The rule number 1 before we even got started was like, you can when everything's said and done, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But while you're doing it, you don't know what it is. You don't know where it is. You don't know what it is. You've never heard of it. You know, you can't. It's like rule number 1 of Fight Club. You don't talk about it. It doesn't exist.
Yep.
And you know, it's like, even though that's the time you want it, you'd be like, oh dude, I got so much flowering going on. You're all fucking hyped up because it's, you know,
because you're seeing it. You're like yes. And it's like, nope, can't do it.
can't tell a soul. But yeah.
So I've been so that was my thing though, and like I did the thing with that. Luckily I never got caught for that, but I did get caught for weed a lot. And you know, I had my we have a thing called task out here in Arizona, which is, you know, where you go to pee in a cup and you gotta do all that shit. And I did that for, you know, fucking forever when I was a teenager. And I remember at some point, like, it was kind of fucked up because, like, at some point, I was actually trying to do the right thing, go to my probation officer, do the whole deal. And my probation officer stopped taking the calls. And, like, I'd show up to, like, meetings and appointments that they'd set, and they just wouldn't be there. And then they violated me. And I'm like, wait, I went to the appointments and you weren't fucking there. Like, you just weren't showing up. And so, like, at this point, like, it had been about 9-10 months or something since we had contact. I had been on probation probably a total of like a year and a half or something. So, like, the court pulls me in, obviously, on this violation of probation. And it was funny. My mom is a very soft-spoken person. She doesn't speak out a lot. She's not like an boisterous or anything like that. And fucking, we went in there to see that judge, and she fucking tore into him for a half an hour about how, like, she'd had to take time off work to go to fucking these probation appointments, and fucking probation officer wasn't even there, and like all this shit that happened. And so the judge is like, all right, tell you what, if he can just go and pee one clean drug test, I'll give him 3 days. If he can go pee one clean drug test, we're just going to call it over with. And I'll just drop the whole fucking thing. He'll be off probation. He's done for. It's done. And she's like, that's much better. I like that. You know, like, that was basically the thing. And then we walk out, and she's like, so you can pass the drug test, right? And I'm like, no. And she's like, so, all right. And this is the only time she's ever bailed me out like this. She's like, well, what the hell do we need to do? You know? And man, fucking 48 hours of fucking niacin overdosing and fucking downing fruit pectin. I go in and take the piss test, and I passed. And fucking the judge got me off probation. But yeah, so it was fucking horrible. I didn't even fucking do anything at that point for them to violate me for probation, as far as I knew. And they were still fucking violating me. And the guy hadn't seen me in 9 fucking months. And I'm sitting here like, well, there's a justice system at play. If I didn't have a better parent or a good advocate for me, I would have been fucking roped right back up in the system. They would have just extended that out longer, you know?
Right. Most people don't have even a representation of a good parent.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And so anybody else would be fucked, you know? Mountie, back then there wasn't fake piss like there was now. Like, you actually had to wear a fake dick, and it was really
or
weird.
you would have to, yeah, you'd have to bring in someone else's.
Yeah.
You'd have to wear it. You'd have to wear it.
Well, and the way they had it for a task is like they watch you. Like, they actually watch you pee. So, like, it's, you know. I thought about there was a thing called the Wizinator, and it's like a dildo with a fucking urethra, you know, and you'd like use it to piss. But yeah, I wasn't about to do all that.
No.
I don't think my mom would have been keen on buying me a dildo, like especially like for that purpose, you know, like. So we passed on that.
Mouselander's ready to join in. Is it all right if Mouselander comes and does some art for us?
Absolutely not. Why would I want that? Just
oh no, Mouselander. You gotta jump into the waiting room, Mouselander, and I'll pull you in. It's been oh no, they said ready in 5 minutes. It's not quite 5 minutes yet. I'm not paying attention. Well,
blame it on the weed.
I'm not sure if you mentioned, but what got you in trouble in the first place? Was it slinging?
It was it was slanging weed. At that first time it wasn't fucking even that much. Like it wasn't like
you don't have to talk about, but how'd they get you?
How'd they get me?
Not that you have to. You don't have to.
No, it was fucking stupid. Like it was actually because I got in a fight with my folks because they were like bitching at me over my music, and my dad was like, "You're fucking high. I know you're high. Like you're fucking high right now." And my dad was all into this like tough love thing, and he was an attorney, you know, so he was about the justice system, and well, he needs to learn through the justice system, you know, and right. So he was going to make me learn through the justice system since I wasn't learning any other way, and so he actually called the cops on me for like mouthing off to them, and he said he thought I was under the influence of drugs, and they went through my room. And they found a bong stem that the lady was asking me if it was a crack pipe. I'm like, it's a fucking bong stem. Like, you're a cop. Like, you don't know that this is a fucking bong stem? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Anyways.
Yeah, you know? And then they found, like, it was about QP of fucking weed in my room, and they're like, oh. And I had a scale and bags, and, you know, so.
Distribution.
Yeah. Possession with intent to distribute. And, yeah, so that was the number one. It wasn't. The thing is, it wasn't even that much. It wasn't even a whole fucking pound. Like it was like a quarter pound.
Wait. And then when the fucking parole officer violated your fucking parole, your dad didn't help you with this shit? Dad's mean.
Well, no, actually, that's why my mom went, because my dad was sanctioned it. He's like, yeah, you know, go help them out. They didn't do their job. Like. He wanted me to see justice, but he wasn't like, he didn't want me to get fucked over too. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
So no, he definitely was about like, yeah, we're not, you know, that's some bullshit. So,
right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, wow, fuck, man. It's so fucked up.
I think he knew that like my mom would probably garner more sympathy with the judge, or like more like attention from the judge. So that's why he was like, yeah, like we're going to have. Because him, you know, then it looks like, oh, just the lawyer's kid, the lawyer trying to get his kid off, you know, type of thing. So,
right. That's what I was about to say. Shit. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, so it's like my experiences with the police really fucking escalated as I got. I mean, I hate to say it. I'm an Irish dude. I've been privileged for the most part. Every time I've interacted with the police, I would just, you know, be the dumb, dopey fucking Irishman and be like, oh yeah, you know, surrendered my rights. They'd fucking do what they wanted to. I'd pay my tickets, and that'd be the end of it. In fact, one story was I got pulled over where I had a pound in the trunk of my car in my DeWalt toolbox.
Oh shit.
And my car had expired registration, and he fucking needed to impound my car, and he was like, he had sympathy for me. And so like, he was like, hey, I'm not just going to leave you out here in the woods. You know, I'll give you a ride over to the gas station so you can get a ride home. Is there anything you want to take with you?
Fuck. Can I grab my toolbox?
I did. I said, hey, I got to get my toolbox. And so he let me put it in the trunk of his car and fucking took me to the gas station.
Jesus.
Drop me off with my fucking pound of weed in my hands.
And you said they impounded your car though?
Yeah, they impounded my car.
Yeah, that's so lucky that you took that with before they could fucking, because usually once they impound it, like they'll go through it again, like after they take you in, because if they're taking in anything that's illegal, contraband or otherwise, they have to be able to account for it. So they'll go through your car when they're going to impound it. So that's fucking smart as fuck, man. Oh man.
Somehow fucking made it by.
Hey,
and
take
then,
it easy,
like,
fuck.
got my car out 2 days later and was like, shit, man. This is the best toolbox I've ever had.
No, you don't understand. You see, it's just a really fucking good toolbox, officer. It's fucking amazing.
I need my tools for my job, man. How am I going to get my car back if I don't have my tools?
So I'll give you another story, cop story that I think is like fucking incredibly funny. It's always been funny to me, and like I've told an abbreviated version of it on Stonercast, but I've never really gone into the whole thing. So, during high school, like I said, I did a lot of LSD. Like, it was like the thing, you know, fucking, we did on the weekends. It was like, fuck yeah, we go trip nuts and fucking run around the desert, you know? So, we're tripping nuts at this party. I got in like a bunch of my friends all tripping. There must have been like 8 of us or something. And we're all at this party that there was like over 100 people at, like it was a massive party. We're all hanging out, doing the thing, and you know, you get to that point in the trip where it's like, all right, I'm done being around all these fucking people, let's go, you know? So we're like, let's take off, you know, and one of my buddies is driving, and I'm gonna try to remember not to use real names just because I don't want to incriminate anybody, or, you know. They can decide if they want to tell this story for themselves, but I'll tell it for me. So anyways, we drive, like most of my friends live out in, at this time, lived out in kind of a rural area right outside of a city called Chandler, Arizona. It was a little bit further out of outside of Chandler, and this little area where they were, there was a lot of wilderness and a lot of hills and a lot of like, you know, it's like one of the places they lived by was actually known as one of the most populous places for rattlesnakes in the fucking world. So, yeah. So we'd go out there because his parents were always cool with us all staying out there, and they had like a big old property of like a couple acres, you know, little fucking detached garage / workshop where we would all hang out, you know, away from the house. And so we go out to the desert, and we're hanging out, just tripping nuts, smoking a shit ton of weed, looking at the stars, and we're just fucking, yeah, man, I'm fucking learning all about the world right now. Like, I'm on a spiritual trip, bro. Because we had tripped a lot. I think we'd all dropped like 4 or 5 hits. So we were fucking on one. We were going. And we're just fucking rapping back and forth and just like fucking all on our philosophical trip. And we look down the way, and there are these bright fucking headlights coming at us. And one of our friends who's like a little bit more of an experience of a psychonaut than us, like looks and he's like, that's a fucking sheriff, and it's coming right at us. We're like, no! Oh fuck. We're like, what do we do? So I got my pipe, and I'm like trying to figure out a place to hide it. I go hide it in a bush that I think is like very hidden, and come to find out later, it was like totally fucking exposed. But we'll get to that. So anyways, the fucking sheriff pulls up. He's like, what are you guys doing out here? And we're like, oh, you know, we were just out with some friends, and you know, came home after the football game, which none of us watched our high school football. We didn't give a fuck about the high school football teams. Are you kidding me? I used to bet against my high school football team and win a lot, which was nice. But so none of us were into football, but we were like, we were just out at the high school football game. We came out here to, you know, see the stars, and you know, this and that. The cop's like looking at us. He's like, let's see your IDs, and he's like grabbing our IDs, and like, so I have to say where we were at. It's at the bottom of this hill called Bell Hill. Bell Hill is a hill that, like, a lot of 4x4 trucks cannot get up this mountain. They just can't. Like, it's too steep. It's too rocky. Like, like occasionally you'll see somebody get up to the top of it and it's like, oh my fucking God, they did it. How the fuck did they do this shit, right? And so like he's taking our IDs and we're all like, we are so fucked. All of us are tripping fucking balls talking to this cop. And like, we're all looking at each other like we're fucking doomed, man. And out of fucking nowhere, like one of the big, like giant fucking moving trucks, like one of the Ryder ones, still a rental. So not like the 2-car ones or whatever, but like the big ass fucking Ryder moving trucks comes barreling down the side of this fucking mountain. And we're sitting there like, how the fuck is this even happening? Like, we've watched so many 4x try to get up this thing. How the fuck is this thing coming down this? And we're looking at the cop and like, the one friend that's a little more sober is like, or not sober, but experienced, I'll say, because he was still fucked up. But he's like, hey, everybody, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? That big Ryder truck coming down the side of the mountain? And, you know, we're in Arizona. You know, obviously we have immigration stuff that people are, you know, get scared about and spooked about. So we're kind of playing on that. You know, it's like, yeah, that's really weird, man. Like, and the cop looks at the Ryder truck and he looks at us. He's like, oh shit, I gotta go. He hands us back our licenses, right? Just gives them to one of my friends. Goes to fucking take off. 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, stuck in the fucking sand. Stuck in the sand. Yep. What am I gonna do? And he's like, I think I need to call somebody. And then we all run out. We're like, no, it's okay. We'll push you out. We're gonna push you out, okay? And he's like, are you sure? He's like, I don't know if I should have you guys push me. No, trust us. We're gonna push you out of the sand, you know. So this is the one time I've ever helped a cop. But you know, like, we sure enough did. We got that fucking cop out of there. We're like, you're gonna fucking go. You are leaving here. Like, we are staying, you are going, and we are not getting busted. So we push him out. We get him out. We're like, yes, we get this cop. And he's like, oh, thanks, you know. And he's like waving out the window and shit, like all fucking, like fucking Barney Fife and shit. We're like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy.
You just rescued Barney Fife.
Yeah. Well, it would have been all good, except for about another 20 yards down, he got stuck again, and this time we had to go get a board. The same thing though. We pushed him out, and he's like, do you guys need me to come back there and help you? Maybe we could have somebody else up here. And we're like, no, stay up in the front, stay up there, you know? And so finally the second time we got him out, and he was gone. But like, so we're sitting there like freaking the fuck out. We're like, I can't believe this happened. Am I just tripping, or did this really fucking happen? I have no fucking idea. This is the fucking craziest shit. And then I look over at one of my friends. I'll call him Adam because I don't want to say his real name. He goes, look guys, I peed my pants. And we're like, and he's like laughing hysterically, and we're like, he's riding in the back.
That fucking Ryder truck coming in like the magic school bus, man.
Dude, I swear it seemed like it almost looked like fucking Nightmare Before Christmas style. The way it was like moving down the mountain, all like, you know, like, yeah.
It's so rigid. That's fucking great. Here, let me grab Mouselander. Mouselander's ready for us. All right.
Hell
Move
yeah.
to Mouselander. And I gotta fix the camera. I know how to do this. Whoa. Uh-oh. That's not it. That's it. Whoa. I misclicked it. Oh shit. And then I gotta add. Ah, damn it. There's so many layers, man. So many layers. More than an onion. More than a parfait. There's a lot of layers.
It's a metaphor for life.
Let me shrink that down. There it is. Back on the couch. And then we add.
Oh, hey, what's up, Mike Lightyear?
Discord. Oh, it doubled. Oh, it's because mouse hasn't gotten the camera in yet. Nope.
That's okay. You guys can look at two of me, I suppose.
Jason. It's Jason in the sky. Or is it?
Jason in the sky with
Jason
diamonds?
in the sky. That's right.
JSD? I wonder what that would be like.
And then we got to move that camera over. Whoop. We got it.
Mike, you just took 50 milligrams of edibles. You're going to be fucking feeling nice.
Hey.
So,
I say, it's... I have to tell people 100 milligrams is my magic number.
Yeah, I probably need to take a tolerance break, but with edibles, I'm usually like, I kind of go for broke, like 250, 300 is going to be like, because I want to feel it, Like when I do edibles, I am doing edibles to get real fucked up. But that's why. I can eat a little bit less, but I have to smoke with it. Like if I'm gonna do like 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams or something like that, I can do that. But I just gotta I'm gonna smoke too,
So because I used to live in Nevada, and we moved to Michigan, and before we moved, we were given like a garbage bag of shake.
Oh, nice.
And I made some butter. And I made like batches of fucking pot cookies. Like just batches upon batches. And I was like, this is going to be the shit that gets me across the country.
For real? Did it work?
We rented this fucking truck. What was it from? Fuck, I can't remember what it was from. Doesn't matter. But its alignment was fucking broken.
Oh,
and it
no.
was like a quarter of a turn to the fucking right. So you had to like force the truck a quarter of a turn to the left to keep it straight. And it always wanted to veer right.
Well, that's scary as fuck when you're driving a fucking moving truck.
And then I had to drive that moving truck about 2,000 miles.
No, thank you.
And so I had these cookies, and I ate too many cookies, and I was hitting the next dimension.
Oh shit.
And I'm sitting there driving that truck, man, and I was like, we got to stop and get a hotel soon. These headlights don't look like headlights anymore.
That's so funny, man. There's something about moving in edibles. Like one of the first times I ate edibles, I was, or made them actually, not ate them. I had eaten some before, but the first time I made my own, I thought, oh, you need a lot of weed to, make edibles. And I should get like some really fucking high grade weed, I didn't need either of those things to make edibles, but I thought I did. And so I went and got a QP. And I got some of the dankest White Widow I could fucking find. And I decided to make some brownies, right? And so I made 2 batches of brownies, 1 box each, and I put the entire QP in those 2 batches of brownies. You can kind of guess what happened. The brownies tasted like nothing but weed. And I started eating them, and I fucking got so high I ended up moving from Phoenix to Tucson, Arizona. Waking up 2 weeks later, staring at the ceiling, after I got a job at a head shop, which was pretty fucking awesome, and saying, what the fuck am I doing in Tucson? Yeah.
I've heard through the grapevine from, funny enough, my draft dodger friend, Tucson is just one of those cities
Oh, yeah.
that people end up in. That's what happens. It really is.
But you know what? Tucson is one of the fucking coolest places too, man. Like the art scene there is fucking awesome.
Yep.
The people, I've met so many cool people there. But like, so people like my parents would be like, oh, Tucson's dirty, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, looking at the art everywhere, I'm like, this place is fucking beautiful. There's artists all over the place. People are playing music, you know, like the LGBTQ community is like flourishing here and can do whatever the fuck they want and don't have to really fucking hide as much, you know, like everything was at that time when I was living there was better than it was in Phoenix at that time. So it was kind of funny. And I'm not a member of the LGBTQ community, but I've always associated with people in the community. So it was kind of like, I like having that, you know, those interactions and shit. So
Right.
it was just a really cool place to be at the right time. And yeah, I mean, Tucson can be a fucking great place, especially if you're an artist.
Yeah, that's how I kind of felt growing up in Santa Cruz too. I mean, I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community either, but I've always had. I mean, they've always been my friends because I live with them. You know what I mean? I shared houses with them, and they were always because I was always an outcast in my own realm of being the nice big Irishman. You know, it's like because I was big. Because I'm big. I mean, I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. I've been like that since I was in high school. I mean, I've lost weight at certain points, but I've always been pretty big. And because I was nice and I wasn't like mean, because I guess that's kind of what's expected when you're big.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got picked on a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've always had a hard time adjusting to that.
Yeah, I kind of went through that too. Like, I'm not quite as tall as you are, but like, I'm like 6'1", and kind of got the thing like, why aren't you more like a jock bro type dude? You know, like the wrestling coaches are always bugging me, like, why aren't you out for wrestling? You know, fucking got the perfect build. You can do the fuck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, because I want to go fucking skateboard. Leave me the fuck alone, dude. Like,
That's right. I wanted to go surf and skateboard.
Yeah.
Fuck the football, man. I don't want to play no football.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was about it. I was like, I'm way too chill for that shit, man. Like, I don't got near the testosterone rage for that. I just want to go smoke some weed and fucking like go sidewalk surfing for a little bit, you know? Because you know we don't have beaches in Arizona, of course.
Right. I mean, that's that was my thing too. I mean, Santa Cruz was definitely like one of the top 10 best surf places in the world, at least in my opinion. A lot of great surf spots there. I was really lucky to have that. And even though I was always poor as fuck, and I was always like the guy who would have the wetsuit that was sewn together with dental floss.
Just trying to hold it on, right? Yeah.
Just hanging on for dear life, just so I could be out there in the water, you know. But it was my escape until I got, too hurt to surf.
Yeah.
And then it was too hurt to work.
Yeah, like I kind of went through a similar thing. So funny thing, one of my best friends growing up was from Santa Cruz. This kid Greg I knew, and he was just a fucking awesome dude. And we used to go like every winter to go surfing because you wanted to get the better breaks are in the winter time, you know?
That's right.
So everyone's like, oh, go in the summer. It's like, no, that's when the tourists will go. Let's go in the winter time. He's like, and so we go out freezing ass cold, 4:00 in the fucking morning, out there in the water, you know? And yeah, he got me really into it, and I fucking loved it. We did that like every year for like 4 years, you know? Yeah, after we lost touch and shit, like I didn't do it much anymore. And then I wanted to go back a couple years ago. Like I actually went to San Diego, but my nephews wanted to surf, and I'm like, all right, well, I still know how to do the thing, like maybe I'll go out there with you. I fucking I started walking around the sand because I got in a car accident and got ran over by a car. So
me too.
My back's fucked.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my back is trash, and I went out there and I was trying to get my hips moving, you know, to where I felt like I could be comfortable, you know, like get that kind of like shock absorption going on, you know? And like I was hurting so fucking bad. I was like, I got up a couple times and I was like, it's just not the same, you know. I'm barely fucking getting up on this thing, dude. Like I just felt rickety. It was kind of fucking ego busting actually, but
It's tough.
I don't know. I kind of also I've been motivated to like actually like work harder on my health so that I can get back out and do it, because as much as it like pissed me off that I couldn't, like it also was like, but I really want to do it. You know, like
Right.
I shouldn't let that slow me down.
So much.
Yeah.
I used to fucking like when I used to longboard skateboard instead of like biking, and I could like travel miles on that thing, you know? And I miss that. I miss fucking, you know, that was my side work. That was my sidewalk surfing, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's what we did too. Like I remember as a kid, like we didn't take the bus anywhere. It's like, oh, if you're gonna go across town, fucking hop on the board. Let's go, baby. We're going on an adventure, you know. Try to find some curbs to grind down the way, you know. Like there's some cool little gaps, you know, you can hit, you know. We always had a buddy that had like a camera and would snap pictures and shit. Like, so we do that shit. Light our boards on fire, try to be all super cool, you know.
That's when I first started getting in trouble, was with skateboarding with cops when I was a kid. That was the first time I ever got harassed by a cop, was when I was skateboarding. I was skateboarding at the church that I went to. And the cops got called on us and harassed us to you know, not be skateboarding and damaging their property. They took our shit. They took our shit and they took us because we didn't have any IDs because we're all kids.
Right, yeah.
They fucking took our shit and they were gonna take us downtown to fucking, you know, call our parents and fucking ID us and shit. Mm-hmm. But then he just let us go at the station. He just like took us all the way across town, took our boards, and dropped us off and left us at the station.
You're like, hey, we have an adventure skating from the station. Fuck yeah.
Well, no. He kept our boards. We had to
he kept the boards. Oh, that fucking sucks.
We had to walk home. We all had to walk home, and then we had to call him back the next day and arrange an appointment to get our boards back.
That's such bullshit. Like, we had them, like, in Arizona, like, they straight up would fucking break your boards. Like, I had cops break my boards over their fucking knees, dude.
Yep.
Like, just to be a dick about it, you know?
Because we never got our boards back. Even though we were that's what they told us to do, but we were never allowed to call them.
Yeah.
I mean, we called them, but they never had an appointment available for us, and we could never get them back.
Yeah, fucking punk ass. ACAB, see? And you wonder why people say ACAB? Like, you're fucking with kids, dude. These are kids.
Dude,
like, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was 13 and they were doing that to me.
That's right. I was 13, skateboarding with my fucking 12-year-old friend and my fucking 10-year-old brother.
Yeah, you're kids. Like, what the fuck is wrong with them, dude? Like, that's just mean. They're just fucking mean assholes, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Kidnapped us and dragged us half across town.
Yeah, what a bunch of bullshit. There was a time, like, I remember my first job I had, I worked at a Taco Bell. And I came home, I was riding home from work one night, and there was, like, a way you could, like, cut through this school. And sometimes I do it because it took me a little bit to get home, and I get, like, a drink of water, you know? And like, I went through the fucking school that day and stopped off, you know, got off my bike and went into the school to get a drink of water. You know, it's open, you know, it's not like it's closed off or anything, like. And so I walked back, I'm like sitting at the water fountain getting a fucking drink of water, and this cop is like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm getting a drink of water. And he's like, you're not supposed to be back there. He's like, get over here. And I'm like walking over, and I'm like slowly like trying to get through the gate and shit, because I have my backpack on and I couldn't, like, I'm like trying to squeeze through the gate, and he fucking rips me through the gate and throws me on the ground, sticks his fucking gun to the back of my head. He's like, what the fuck were you doing there? And I'm like, I'm 14. Like, I was getting water. I was coming home from fucking work. I work at fucking Taco Bell. And I'm like telling him, like, I'm rattling off like my fucking address to my house and like where I work and the address to my, I'm freaking the fuck out because this guy's got a fucking gun pointed at the back of my head, you know? And so finally lets me up, takes me back to the station, has my parents fucking pick me up. Like I did something wrong and like, tries to hit me with the curfew violation. My dad's like I said, my dad's an attorney, and this is one of those moments where he's like, he didn't do anything wrong. He was coming home from work. That's like an exception to the rule with curfew violations, especially because you charged him with the curfew violation after you already had him in custody. That's when he had violated the curfew, not prior to you taking him into custody. In other words, like by the time he charged me with the fucking curfew violation, it wasn't because I would have been late getting home. It was because I got detained by the cop. So he called him on his bullshit right there, and like we got all our shit, got out of there, but had to fucking have my parents come down. It was a big scene, a big deal. So that was like actually one of my first fucking run-ins with the cops. I think the first major one. And that's when
cops, man. That's
when I knew for sure. I was like, fuck these motherfuckers, dude. Like, who the fuck sticks a gun to the back of a 14-year-old kid's head? You know, like...
Yeah. That when we were at the church, they didn't stick it to our heads, but they pointed them at us, you know? Because, like, our skateboards were so threatening weapons. Because we're holding skateboards. They were so fucking scared they're going to shoot kids.
Remember when they used to say, like, if you had a wallet chain, that was a weapon? And you're like, yeah, you know how hard it would be for me to disconnect my wallet chain to fucking use it on somebody? Come on, dude. Like, that's work. If you're really getting into a fight, you're not going to have much time to do that shit. But yeah, I used to sport the wallet chains for sure all the time.
Oh, yeah. Fucking cops, man. Just terrorizing the fucking, terrorizing us to make sure that we know their place when we grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they're just fucking terrorizing us. That's their duty there, you know?
You said duty.
Duty.
I couldn't help it. Yeah, but it totally seems like that's what they're driven for, and I think it's a culture that's actually manifested and created by those that both recruit them and those in control of the systems that teach them. You know, like you could create a good cop. I believe that there is a way, okay? But I think you would have to completely uproot what we call policing, and it wouldn't be anything like what we call it now. Like, they would be truly public servants. They would fucking make sure that people's rights were respected as opposed to making sure that people abided by the law. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Because those can be distinctly different, you know, like if the focus is one or the other. And I really think that's where it should be. Focus on that shit.
The first time I got profiled, because I have a mixed partner and we have a mixed family. We were driving through Illinois and we had a rental car. And this cop pulled us over and fucking swore he smelled cannabis in the car, which, I mean, we weren't smoking in the car, but
right,
I was high. So what he does is he takes me out of my car and he has me sit in his car with him. And he's got his fucking redneck country music on. And he's just basically stalling while he has his fucking buddy with the dog come over. Because the reason why I'm not, he's not letting us just go is because I'm not letting him search our car. He's like, hey, I want to search your car. And I was just like, we're driving across the country. I don't have time for you to be searching my car. No, we didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And so this is why he's doing all this, right? So he has this dog fucking come out. His dog sends a signal, and then he just continues to strip search us. He takes
what?
every single.
Are you serious? Yeah. What the fuck, dude?
every single bag out of our car on the side of the freeway, unloaded all of our fucking luggage, they had like 4 fucking cop cars come in, all because their dog fucking set an alert. And then they found nothing. They found nothing.
See, that's the problem with using those dogs. They're not fucking accurate.
No, the dogs are. We see it all the time. Dogs want to make their masters happy. They're gonna send them the alert if they want to make them happy.
Let's go.
My
True.
dog fucking wants when I don't tell my dog to sit when we go to the park. She knows when we get to the park, she's got to sit for me to undo her leash.
Yeah.
So she sits down and she goes, "I'm ready to be free."
Hey, thanks for the biddies, guys.
You know, she's like, "I'm ready." Like she's ready. She doesn't jump around and get nuts because she wants me to let her go sooner, and she knows I won't let her go unless she sits.
Yeah, because you've trained her that way, and she feels comfortable in that. You know, like
Right. And these dogs know they won't be rewarded unless they give the signal. So that's what they do. Give the signal. That's why they use them. They use them for that very purpose. It's on purpose.
yeah.
It's not like it's a coincidence that they're doing that purposefully.
I had somebody in my chat say, "Well, I mean, if you were high, they may have been right in signaling. You know, maybe they had detected a little bit somewhere." You're like,
You can't smell it from the outside of the car. I mean, it would have to smell it on my breath.
"That's true. That's true. They'd
not
have
the
to be
fucking-
like up on you."
Right, not the outside of my car. Shit, he smelled some fucking ragweed, man.
It's like some leftover weed that got stuck in your tire or some shit. You know, like you didn't see it. You like dropped a nug in the driveway.
Dog's probably smelling the fucking cocaine on my $20 bills, you know?
It's not my fault. I get my money from strippers. Okay. Oh shit. And I ain't judging, you know, if that's your profession, that's what you like to do. Rock and roll. Also, I ain't judging if you do cocaine. That's what you like to do. Far be it for me to
remember there was a study that was shown that every single $20 bill has some trace amounts of it just because of it being in circulation.
I did hear something about that. You're right. You're right. That is true.
So whether you do it or not, it's just you have money, so therefore you have some form of traceable amount.
So if the cops really wanted to bust you, get rid of your 20s because they'll bust you for cocaine if they really want to fucking nail you. They'll just look for the 20s.
Get your 20s. Shit, cops are fucked.
I'd say go for the 50s and hundos, but I have a feeling they'd be worse.
That's true too. Oh shit!
I'm loading up the Stunden glass.
Oh, I should take another toke. Actually, I got some of this new stuff. What is it? Bubba Kush.
Bubba Kush is a solid indica hybrid, right? Be pretty tasty.
Truth be told, as much as I've grown, I don't think it's ever really mattered to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like I look for the high percentage, and it's like cool.
I'm kind of with you on the high THC percentage for sure.
Yeah, you know, I'm just like, hey, I mean, truth be told, I mean, the things that I kind of miss, because like I don't really smoke much anymore. I mean, I smoke the flower once in a while, but not much as I mostly smoke dabs just because it's so much cleaner.
Same.
You know, and but it's like what I miss is like the old skunky weeds from the fucking 2000s, you know? There was some fucking good old skunky weed.
The shit that would stink up your whole ass fucking house with a small quarter, right? Like,
yeah. Man, where the terpenes were just out of this fucking world. It seems like the terpenes have toned down over the ages, you know?
I think with it just being mass manufactured and you've got people growing weed next to other types of weed, so I think that it dulls the flavor. Huh?
Yeah, you know, to some degree, dulls the flavor. It misses a little bit of its. I remember there was this one kind of weed that I don't remember the strain, but I remember it had like almost like a coffee-like smell to it, and the way that it smelled in combination with, the skunkiness.
Uh-huh.
It was just so earthy. Oh man.
Like sounds like some chocolate Thai or something like that. Like chocolate Thai kind of had that like chocolatey coffee smell.
It was funny. The strain that we grew, it's kind of like wine tasting when you grow and you don't know what the strain is. You just kind of like taste a little bit like this, taste a little bit like that, because we didn't know what we had. We just had a whole bunch of random seeds that we crossed for a couple generations.
And just made that your own kind of like thing.
And yeah, and it had, I remember we were just like, well, it definitely has like that Northern Lights fruity flavor to it. I like the Northern Lights in there, so it's got a Northern Lights in there. And it was like, yeah, it's got kind of that cushy flavor, that cushy like spice to it too. It's like a sweet spice, like Kush.
All right, so that's Northern Lights Kush. All right, that's what we got. We're calling it. Let's run with it.
Northern Kush. We were like the. It's either the Northern Kush or the or was it the Cushy Lights?
Nice.
Making up our name for our for our strain.
That's fucking awesome. That's so funny. But I always had a feeling. I'm like, dude, like I know that basically most of the names for weeds, they grow it. They harvest it, they cure it, they smoke it, and then they're just like, that's the name. That's the name.
That's right. That's right. It's just like wine tasting, They're just like, yeah, it's got that in there. That's totally what it is.
It's got the tannins of iron nail and feta cheese.
The cheese. Oh yeah, the cheese. I remember those strains, those cheesy strains.
The cheese strains were so like I remember like somebody had some blue cheese, and yes, it tasted like blue cheese. It tasted just like blue cheese, and it was fucking gross. And one of my buddies would smoke because it would get you really fucking high. It was really high fucking THC percentage. But it tasted fucking horrible. It's like one of the only weeds that I've ever like been like, I want to fucking puke. Like, I don't want to eat my weed like this. Like, I mean, sweet flavors, like spicy flavors, like, things like that, like herby flavors, that kind of stuff. Like I can get on that, but when you start making it taste like fucking cheese, you kind of lose me, man. It's just too much. I'm like, can we get like a cheese platter with it or something?
Cheese platter.
Maybe that'll dull the taste a little bit. I'll eat enough like fucking like camembert or something to where when I smoke the fucking cheese, it don't taste so cheesy.
Yep.
But yeah, and that shit would make your breath stink fucking horrible too. Like I could always tell when I walked away. It'd be like my breath was like 10 feet in front of me. I was like, I knew it. I just fucking knew it. I was like, I can smell the cheese on my breath. It's like
cannabis definitely doesn't carry that much stank like it used to. Like, yeah, you remember like when your dealer would come over and they would have like their ounce in the pocket, and that you'd fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back when people were afraid to drive with weed in the front of their car. Like they'd legit put it in their fucking trunk because it would be like,
a toolbox in the trunk of my car.
Yeah, it'd be like, it stinks so fucking bad. Like I remember having like a QP in my like having it in. I'm not gonna explain, but I was in the closet with my QP this one time, and I got stuck in there. Okay, I'll explain. I was ditching school, and my grandpa came over to let the fucking like maid in, and I couldn't let him catch me, and so I got stuck in the closet in my bedroom with my fucking QP of weed until they left, which was like an hour and a half. I fell asleep in there. But it was so bad, my eyes were like fucking watering. They were just like pouring fucking water. And like, cause it just was so fucking stinky. And I was like right there in my face the whole fucking time. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. God, like fucking please leave so I can open the goddamn closet and get the fuck out of here. But yeah. So but yeah, that shit used to be fucking stanky as fuck. We even
what happened? What happened to all the stank?
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. So like here's what I think happened. I think they have these massive grow ops now, and they're growing all these strains next to each other, and because they're growing the strains next to each other, like the smells aren't staying as distinct. You know what I mean? Like there's other aromatics in the room where that fucking same flower is being grown. You know, and you could possibly be getting some of the fucking I don't know, the fucking little fucking terps and shit, you know, from other plants onto other plants, you know, because they're in such close vicinity. Because they're trying to pack shit in to grow as much as they can in as small place as they can because of the price.
I noticed that they're doing too many generations on a lot of them too. Like depending on where you do, because like sometimes my dealer, I could tell that my dealer or the shop that I go through. I could tell when they go through a different farm. Like they have an organic farm for most of the year, and then there's a season where they can't get any from that organic farm, so they buy from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And when you get those, you could tell it's like kind of more of that factory kind of stuff, and they
almost tastes like hay, huh?
Well, they do the generations too long. You know what I mean? Like the moms are living too long, so the plants are seeding.
Oh, got it.
Because I've found seeds in them sometimes, and it's like, how are you allowing seeds to happen? And I was like, it's only because they're allowing the generations to run too old. They're not allowing the plant to like extenuate its generation, because that's like.
Because basically, what you'd want to do is once you get a couple harvests out of it, you're gonna fucking clone that shit, and you just splice off a part of it, right?
Well, that's the point. Is like cloning you don't want to continuously do. Like cloning works for like a generation or two, but like
you really want to replant a new seed. Is that what you're saying?
A new seed, right? Because the genetics of the mother that you're making the clones from, right? The genetics of the mother, she'll be living in an eternal season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where she's always looking for male pollen, and it's not. And it's for an extended lifetime for its genetics to catch up to want to make seed anyways.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
So it makes,
okay.
And so when the clones will start doing that, because then they'll just have like a random male bud
just pop up. Yeah.
Yep. And I've seen that.
And then you're fucked.
I've seen that happen before. Right. Well, yeah. And then it'll spread throughout the whole thing. Cause then what you have is you have this cannabis that has seeds. It has the genetics to make seeds, but it doesn't have male genetics to make the seeds. So it just makes it on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a self-pollinating cannabis, which is not good.
Yeah. You can't very well smoke that unless you're willing to pop out a shit ton of seeds, and we already went through that. It was called the crushed black seed era. Do you remember crushed black seed?
No, I don't.
So crushed black seed, it was a really common term in Arizona, and it was when you get that fucking really bad compressed fucking weed, and there'd be those black seeds in it that would run through it. And fucking, it would usually be like a disc like this. They could take an ounce and make it like almost like the size of a credit card. And you just like pull it apart, like brickweed, but like it was just, there was some brickweed that wasn't seedy like that. This was extra fucking seedy. And so it got the name crushed black seed. And there was just, sometimes, you end up with the crushed black seed, have to go through someone new after your dude stops returning your calls and shit. And like, they just have the bammer, and that's
right.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, the cannabis needs to live throughout its seasons, or it gets harms with its internal seasoning, because it's one of those plants. It depends on making seeds to coexist. Because I mean, if you ever seen like a cannabis plant like allowed to seed before? it's like corn. I mean, it's hard to compare how much seed is in an actual like intentionally seeded cannabis plant.
Is it?
You know what I mean?
I haven't seen one that's been intentionally seeded. No.
Yeah, when it's intentionally seeded, it's like a mix between popcorn and like corn and pomegranates, because it's just so many millions of seeds packed in a cola. Like every single, like, think of this on your bud, every single little one of those little tulips of flower, you know?
Yeah.
They'd have the little pistils. Every single one of those is a potential seed. And if you intentionally seed it where they all get seeded, it's just.
And I mean, there are seed farms that actually do that kind of thing too.
And it's millions of seeds in just one plant, like millions. There's so many.
I bet those guys are really making a fucking gold mine doing that shit. And it's probably a little bit easier because they don't got to worry about curing the weed or anything. They're just in it for the seeds, you know?
Right.
Fuck that. I ain't growing fucking weed. I'm growing seeds, motherfuckers.
Seeds is a good business, man. I think that's harder to come by as a good seed.
You know, yeah. What if somebody started doing that? I'm like, it's like, hey, you know, fucking, I don't fucking sell weed. I teach you how to grow weed, you know, like fucking, I think that would be fucking cooler, you know?
Me and some of our other friends, we talk about how we should have a Johnny Seedweed, and someone who makes millions and millions of seeds and just goes across the country and just spreads seeds all across all the highways, all through all the state property, just spread
well, you know,
cannabis all across the country.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Like, so my dad was from the South, right? Like, Arkansas, like the South, you know,
right?
Fucking good old boy. And he went from the South to fucking living in fucking LA, just outside Watts. So fucking huge drastic change. But anyways, when he was living in Arkansas, keep in mind my dad was fucking furiously anti-drug, you know, up until I was much older, and then I found out the truth. But like, so when he was in Arkansas as a kid, they used to go sneak and they used to like smoke these fucking, like, this mix that they would get that they could get. It was like, I don't know if they got it from the store or where it was, but it was like a mix of this shit, and it was like the poor people's tobacco. Well, the poor people's tobacco had fucking a little bit of cannabis and some fucking like apples mixed into it. So him and his friends would sit and like smoke this like cannabis, you know, tobacco mixture, and fucking, I guess, get all loopy and shit when they were like little kids, you know? And like, he gave me so much shit for the longest time. And he's like, well, I guess you could say, like, because I was like, Dad, come on. Like, you've been on this earth a long time. You worked for the fucking mafia. You did some fucking crazy ass shit. Like, you've been through everything. You're going to tell me you didn't do any drugs? Like, ever? Like, you didn't do fucking anything. Nothing? Ever? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Come on. Like, and he's like, well, and then that's what he told me the story. Like, yeah, like, you know, but they didn't really think of it as weed. They thought they were just smoking like pipe tobacco, like really cheap pipe tobacco. And he didn't find out until later in life that, dude, you're getting fucking high, yo. Like,
oh, that's so funny. You know, that's funny because, like, that's, you know, when I was a kid, I mean, I didn't know until I was maybe 14 what cannabis actually was.
mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know what it actually was till I was 14. And that was because of Dare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And, but when I was a kid,
I'm still
my only
pissed
memory...
that you got the free drugs that they advertised and I didn't. Fucking bastards.
I mean, my mom smoked a lot. My mom was a total hippie, okay? And it's so funny because, like, when I was like a kid, like 4 years old, I remember my mom would go over to her friend Jerry's house, and that's where they would smoke the good smelling cigarettes.
Nice.
And that's all that I've ever known them as, is the good smelling cigarettes until I was like 14. Like I had no fucking identification difference. I was like, oh yeah, my mom smokes good smelling cigarettes once in a while. They're cool. And I'll smell it once in a while at the place. Like, hey, someone else is smoking those cigarettes. All right.
So all right.
So right, you know, so I never put the two together, you know. I just like, oh, hey, that's the good smell. I always associate it with such a good smell. I'd be like, ah,
yeah, yeah. Well, because it definitely smells better than fucking tobacco. Like, it's fucking substantially better. Like, but it's funny because, like, you know, I was a single dad for a long time. Like, me and my daughter's mother recently got back together, but I had her for fucking 9 years by myself, you know. She's 12 now. And like I remember when she was real little, because because by the time she was born, medical cannabis was legal here, and recreational cannabis was well on its way, you know, and I had my medical card and shit, so like she's always known about weed, in the sense of like, oh well, I know what it is. I know not to touch it and stay away. You know, that's medicine. And
yeah.
For the most part,
my kid knows it as medicine too.
Yeah, you know, so like she never really wanted to like mess with that, but it was really funny because I would go outside and sit on the patio and hit my bong or whatever, and she knew what that was, right? But there was one day I was out there and one of my friends fucking rolled a big old fat hooter, like a big old fat hooter, and I was like sitting out there smoking it with him, and she was little. She must have been like 4 or something, maybe 4.5, 5, and she fucking pounds on the fucking glass door, and she's like, "You no smoke cigarettes! You no smoke cigarettes! You no smoke!" And I'm like, it's not a cigarette. Like, she was pissed about cigarettes. Like, she's like, you're not smoking fucking tobacco. Like, tobacco was the fucking line. And I was like, cool. I'm never gonna have to worry about her smoking cigarettes. She don't like cigarettes. But she, nice. Like, if I was sitting out there with my bong, you know, it was like, you know, she knew I was dead, taking his medicine or whatever, didn't think nothing about it. She didn't want nothing to do with those cigarettes, though. Dad, you better not smoke cigarettes. I just always thought that was so funny. I was like, yes.
Oh, that's good. That is good. That is good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I've always came to this opinion is like when my kid asks why I smoke it, I don't know. I tell her it's the same reason. I got high blood pressure issues. It helps me manage my fucking blood pressure. Yeah, I mean, and because I have high anxiety too, and I can't fucking.
Yeah, I'm honest with my daughter about it. I'm like, well, you know, like I do take it for medicinal purposes, and sometimes on the weekend I take it for a little bit more. And she's like, that's okay. Like I mean, she's like almost 13 now. She's totally knows the score about everything. You know, she knows what's up. She's a smart kid, and she's just like,
it used to be. It didn't used to be. It used to be a hobby, but now it's like, oh man, I'm so glad I have it because it's the only thing I got. It's the only thing I got.
Yeah, well, and like that was the same with me because I have degenerative disc disease or disorder, whatever the fuck they're calling it now. And so for me, like I work and I sit all day, which means I'm putting pressure on my spine and pressure on my discs in my back, and then, you know, I've got the long-term injury on top of that. So it's like, it was either going to be cannabis or I was going to be on opiates, and I'll be fucking goddamn if I'm going to get hooked on that shit. Not fucking happening for me. I've just seen how fucking bad it's gotten for friends I've known. I lost a friend to fucking opiate addiction because of a similar type of fucking back injury that they just kept farming him out fucking, you know, Oxycontins and shit, and like he finally just took too many, and that was, he literally just fucking died from taking too many Oxycontin. That was it. And it's like, nope, I'm not gonna fucking, I don't even want to fucking chance it, you know? Like, I don't want to be a part of that shit. And like, and I guess like too, my whole thing is, because my injury happened after my kid was born, and it's like, I got somebody to live for, and I know that like, if I were to like get involved in that, if I were to be taking those pills, like, My personality is such, like, it would end up like I'd definitely fucking abuse them, you know, like, you know, I just know how I am, you know, and like I'm not gonna fucking chance that shit. I don't want to be there, you know. I don't want to be in that place, you know. Aside from that, the one time I did, like right after my back injury when that shit happened, they gave me Percocets, and I broke out in rashes all over my body. Like I had giant fucking pock marks all over me, and it fucking hurt. Like, and on top of that, I got so insanely depressed. I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, I've never had the level of depression to where I was sitting there like, dude, I fucking hate my life. I don't even want to fucking be here anymore. Those pills made me feel like that. And that's why, and I was like, nope. Between that and like what I see my friends go through and all the rest, I'll fucking smoke weed. I'll do physical therapy. I'll work out. I'll do whatever I have to do to keep myself off of that shit. Because I got a little girl in my life and I'm gonna fucking live for her. And I'm not fucking gonna go down that road. No. Nope. Not after I saw what other people went through. I was like, fucking bump that noise. Yeah. And here I am. Here I am.
I had that same thing when I was working at the restaurant. Being overworked was putting so much strain on me. Then someone gave me oxys, and that was just having one of those a day was like, oh man, I can make it through work so nice now. It's like it's like floating through the day. It's so fuck all these assholes making food.
Don't give a fuck about anything, you know. Yeah, you're just kind of like moving through it.
And then there would be those weekends when I wouldn't have one, and then the crash of not having one. And then it was like, I remember having that one day of like, I'm not going to make it through this shift if I don't get one of those pills. I'm going to lose my shit.
Right. And it's like, oh, fuck. We're there.
Wow, yeah. What me saying that to myself was like, wow, let's drink some beer. Let's end this shit. We're done. We're done with the pills. Can't be thinking that way no more.
Stop it before it gets started. Yep. I feel you on that.
Get out of that. Let's get some more cannabis rolling. Let's go. Not having that one.
And I think like edibles really can do a lot for people that do need like more, you know, that need like that real medicinal, super medicinal fucking kick, like when it's bad.
Yep.
I think that's the easiest way to do it. And like, you know, it does, like, to me, honestly, it has the closest effect to like any of those opioids I ever took without like the weird depression or breaking out in fucking horrible rashes. Yeah. You know, like
if you know your dosage, like I said, my magic number is 100. Oh, when I do my 100 milligrams, it's like that borderline between dimensional and just and having a good time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, that's where I want to be. That is exactly where I want to be.
No, see, I did a stream with Aiko one time, and I think I ate like 500 milligrams because we were playing her brother's video game that he made for her. And like, she wanted me and Freems to be on there to like comment with her and just like bullshit. And that probably was a little too much for stream because I was just sitting there like, it looks really cool. Like, it looks cool. And there's like all these jump scares, and I'm not jumping. I'm just sitting there like,
yeah. I know that. It's so, you know, funny enough because I smoke a lot on my stream. When I'm streaming every night, I mean, I have, like I said, I deal with it to manage my anxiety.
Yeah.
Like I'm such an introvert. I used to be a survivalist. I lived on a mountainside by myself for years, you know?
Oh, no shit.
And so, yeah. That's when I was doing the cannabis thing. It was kind of the same time. It was when I grew cannabis.
So you were like a troglodyte?
Troglodyte? I don't understand.
It's like a caveman, like a modern day
Oh,
caveman.
no, well, it's funny. I kind of joke around and called myself a hillbilly. So there might be some relation in that one. Because they were definitely living on the hills in Humboldt. But I met a commune and lived on a commune for a little while. And it was kind of like this, because I grew up hating money, man. I always saw money as like this thing that made people really bad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I always saw money made people bad. And a lot of me going out to do the jungle growing was in relation to like reading things like Jack Kerouac and
right.
having these journeys into nature and reconnecting and hippie stuff, the old hippie stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was fucking like right on. And then I met these this indigenous family who just kind of like took me in, and I fell in love with, not living with money. And I
don't blame you for not liking money. I'm not a big fan myself.
I wish my biggest like regret in life, it seems like, is that I left. Like I wish I never left, but I could never have stayed. There's like a whole thing, like I could have stayed there because I was not physically capable. I just I had family that I hadn't, and they didn't they were their family. Mm-hmm. And but I had a whole bunch of problems with just like life.
Yeah.
And so when I kind of came back to society, I had this big culture shock of rejoining the the real world and
having to adapt to capitalism again.
Yeah, and it's and then I worked I worked so hard that I had a burst brain aneurysm. So then there was that, and now I haven't been able to work anymore, and it's kind of been shit.
Well, at least you can stream with me, and we can smoke weed together. I mean, think about this. We found each other through that, like, and I like meeting new people and cool people. I'm so glad that we're getting. Yeah, smokes a lot of cannabis. And I'm so glad that like we like, cause so like on Stonercast it gets chaotic and there's so much going on there that sometimes like voices get drowned out, and I know that, and I'm like there's so many times I'm like I want to reconnect with that person because I like some of the stuff they were talking about was interesting, but there was so like the chaos was so much at the moment, like I didn't get to fully like absorb what they were about, or know them, and it's like you were kind of landed on that list. I know you hung out afterwards and we talked quite a bit afterwards, but like I was still like, I want to go I definitely want to hang out with Skid again. Like, dude seems cool as shit. So like that's what I was like, I gotta get on this fireside chat you're doing, that's what I was like, Fire Tales.
This whole thing kind of, it just like back when I first got back into living in society and I had all of my cannabis to live off of, because that's how I was able to, that's how I was able to live off the grid.
Yeah.
I had a fortune basically. I had a fortune. I don't know how much money that was in total, whatever.
Integrity Farms. Integrity Farms, just like South Park. You ever seen South Park with Integrity Farms?
And so, when I first came back into society, like one of my favorite things was going down to the beach and having bonfires with my roommates and shit. And usually we'd all party and get high, and then usually when things settle down, there'd usually be like one or two stragglers who'd be like me, the super night owls who would be up at fucking 3-4 a.m. and fucking sit around the fire and just talk about, well, how the fuck did you end up sitting here at this fire?
Yeah. Get to know each other and shit. I dig that. I like that.
And then there's a lot of things that come behind that, you know. A lot of things that I've learned is that a lot of us are struggling in this life, you know, like capitalism in itself is punishing all of us.
Oh yeah.
And one of those things that I've noticed is that when people get to sit down like this and they get to share kind of like some of the struggles that they've had, a lot of people can relate to it, and then it makes their struggles feel like, well, at least, you know, it's not a at least I'm not alone. It's more of a, well, this won't last forever because I'm not alone.
Right. Yeah. I that's definitely fucking relatable. I mean, for sure. And that's why I don't know. I kind of feel like right now, like even in the space that I'm creating, is like I want to take advantage of the fleeting moments that I'm able to capture with people like this, or like people in my chat or whatever. Because yeah, for that reason, like those moments you're not alone are fleeting, you know, like because ultimately we always end up back with ourselves. You know, the truth is, no matter how much you want to say it doesn't happen, there are two things that are going to happen. No matter fucking what you do, don't take life too seriously because you're never going to make it out alive. And number two, we're all going to end up dying alone. Like, that's just what happens. That's how it is. You know, I mean, existentially speaking, you know. So like, it doesn't mean you don't have family. It doesn't mean you don't have people that care about you. But essentially, you know, like you're in a state of like oneness and selfness, and you have to like connect with that in the end. You know, that's kind of always been my thought on it. And I'm not a religious person, but I always felt like probably like your last moment would be like definitely like your life flashing before your eyes. And if I were to ever describe to somebody what I think heaven and hell would be like in a practical sense, it's probably the weight of your conscience, like at the last moment of life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
did you die feeling like you did the best you could to be a good person, or did you die knowing you were a fucking shitbag? You know, like.
Yep.
And I think a lot of testaments, and like if you look back through a lot of religions, like even look at like how the Egyptians did it with the feather on the scale and shit, your feather in your heart. It's the same type of principle, you know. Like it all kind of goes back to that, man. You know, it's like I don't know, it always made the most sense to me. Like it.
It's one of those things was like, trying to think of what it is. It's like, for me, in the way that I felt alone in this world is that I've always been very open, kind, at least in my opinion, right? Like I've always expressed myself as honest as I could. I've
Right.
always cared about others far more than myself. I mean, and I've always been very, what I would always identify as altruistic, you know? And for the most part of my life, I felt that my determination in being altruistic made me susceptible and vulnerable to being punished by society because of capitalism. I didn't know it was capitalism that was doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I knew that because of me choosing to be altruistic, me resisting the temptation to exploit others, made me, the system punished me for that. You know what I mean? Like I would never succeed amongst this system because I refuse to exploit others. I refuse to climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Well, and so the reality was I've always felt that I was like alone in this. Like it seemed like every person I've ever met in my life was willing to climb the ladder at some degree. They're willing to do the dog eat dog. It just depends how desperate. You know what I mean? It always gets to that point. And I've
Right.
lived
Hang on.
homeless.
Sorry, hang on
Oh, go
just a
ahead.
second. I had to open the door for my stepson.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. But so ever since I was I was a kid, I never felt like I had anyone in true like allegiance with wanting to care about others before themselves. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was so alone in that. Even after I lived in the commune, I met people, but they also the same thing. Everywhere I went, no one ever put others first. The only time I had ever seen it though was when I was homeless. When I
Yeah.
was homeless as a child and lived amongst actual people living on the streets, they will give you the shirt off their back just to see you smile.
Yeah. I've
Homeless, no, in a different way. And I think that connection to me, I guess, was what made me insist on my altruism.
Sure.
So, it's like this whole position of like up until I found Twitch.
Yeah.
I felt I was completely alone in this. And then Twitch came around and I started talking to the fucking camera and fucking people showed up and said, "Holy fuck." And I was witnessing it myself. And when I went to other channels, I saw other people because I was a viewer before I started streaming,
Right.
And I'd look at all these channels and I'd be like, holy shit, these people have been through it too.
Yeah.
They know. They fucking know.
They connect with me. They feel me on that same level, yeah.
They know.
And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I was fortunate enough to find it before Twitch, but it's not that Twitch wasn't around. I just didn't find Twitch until much later. Other people were finding it on Twitch. Like, I found it walking into my first, because I lived in Arizona, like, there ain't no fucking socialists in fucking Arizona. What the fuck, that doesn't fucking exist. What the fuck you thought? Socialists in Arizona? Yeah, so I walk into my first fucking Bernie Sanders organizing meeting, and there's all these people in there watching him fucking speak. It was a watch party. It was like a debate watch party. And there's all these fucking Bernie people in there. And like the whole room is fucking filled from front to back. And like, I'm not even gonna fucking lie. Like even now, like thinking about like fucking my eyes welled up because I was like, there's fucking people like me out there. And they're actually like human and tangible and like physical and like they exist like, and they're in Arizona. Like I was like, just like, fuck, like this is unfucking real. I never fucking knew, that there were there's this many people in my community that felt the same as me, and like it just fucking lit a fire because I was like, okay, so like now I know I'm not alone. Like I can speak out and like and fuck everybody because I at least know there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna be like, fuck yeah, and like. Again, I know Bernie is not perfect and he's not every leftist cup of tea, but like I felt like at that time, at that point, like it was as far left as anybody was going, and like, it's like a lot of people said Bernie was a compromise. You know what I mean? Like
It's true. No, that's exactly. I'm thankful so much for so many people being able to see that because like. Even when Bernie was happening, I still didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still didn't believe in it. And, maybe it was because
I was afraid to tell people that I liked Bernie. Like, when I first, like, was really into him. Because I had been into him since... So, Bernie used to go on fucking Bill Maher, like, back in the late 90s. Like, actually all the way back to the early 90s. Like he's been going on Bill Maher forever, even when he had his, because remember his show used to be on NBC before it was on HBO. I don't know if you remember that. That was like fucking forever ago. Politically Incorrect, I think is what it was called on NBC. Something like that. But he did that show, And Bernie was going on there like way back. I think he even did, like, the first time I saw him, he may have still been a mayor of Vermont or mayor of Burlington or some shit like that. Like, and I was like, I was just a little kid, but I just remembered this like crazy hair guy. Like, you know, I always liked him. Like, I thought he was a character, you know. And then so it's so weird. I kind of grew up watching fucking Bernie on Bill Maher, and then Bill Maher is taking this weird, hard fucking turn to the corporatist centrist right or whatever, wherever the fuck he calls himself these days. But yeah, like that was my kind of introduction. And my grandma was she was a lobbyist for the Teamsters. She actually fucking worked with Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think my
Nobody
whole thing
knows where
was
he's buried at the Nevada desert, but he's in the Nevada desert somewhere.
right. I think my whole thing was I still hadn't really developed a class conscious when Bernie was going around.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even though I had, you know, I knew I hated the system. I was very abolitionist as far as like the system went and policing went and a lot of that stuff. But I still didn't really have, because I felt was so alone. Yeah. I didn't know that there was an actual class to be conscious of.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That like the people that were like you were literally in the same class as you and experiencing the same hardships. You were on the same economic level.
Right. And I wasn't aware of them still, you know, and that was a huge point. Like when I had my kid and first started like, you know, identifying with a lot of the, because like I would go back and read when my kid was first born is when I first started like picking up books again, because I had gotten injured when she was 4 months old. And so I would just kind of reread my old books that I had read and just see them in a different way, because now I'm seeing them from this systemic point and I'm seeing the political connections. And I kind of realized, oh shit, this whole time I've always been a communist. You know what I mean? Like I've always, like, as soon as I read what reread some of my early theory books, it would come out with, oh shit, I've always been a communist. That's of course I was. I lived on a commune. Of course I was a communist. Like I never really put the shit together. Like I never knew the definition, you know? It's like, oh fuck, that's
You're
what
like,
I was.
living my best life on the commune. Fucking hell yeah.
I had no idea.
No, I gotta tell you guys about it. It's a fucking dream. I've been there. Like, let me talk to you.
Because I was so disconnected from the political aspects of it, you know, and the class aspects of it. I had no relevance of what I actually was. And I was like, oh, fuck, this whole time I've been a communist. Oh, fuck, damn, cool.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I met my partner at the same time. And I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm like a communist, so you're gonna have to be okay with that. That used to be my litmus test when I met people who wanted to be in my life. I would just be like, hey, you know how I'm gonna test you out? You're gonna have to handle me being a communist.
Yeah.
And even though I was still such a baby communist, that's just where I was at. I was like, hey, you know what? Don't fuck with me. I don't care.
I think when I first learned how to label it, like, so I might be like communist or socialist, was like listening to Rage Against the Machine and seeing the CCP like fucking logo and putting that up in my room, and having my dad walk in my room and fucking tear it off the wall, and he's like, what's this fucking communist shit? I've fought in wars against this shit. And I'm like, ew. So I'm a communist. So you don't say.
So you fought wars, you say.
I think you're on the wrong side. No, just kidding. I don't want to denigrate anybody's service. He absolutely was.
Oh yeah,
doing the right thing at the time. He was fighting. They were authoritarians posing as communists, you know, like, I'll put it that way. That's the whole problem, is that a lot of the time the people that want to rule under the banner of communism do so because they're able to manipulate all the systems inside the government, and they're actually not communists at all. You know, it's state capitalism. You know, and it's still a bunch of fucking dickheads, oligarchies that are controlling everything, and nobody getting anything. So, you know,
So the indigenous family I live with, see, like, and this is what Twitch has done to me, like, because I didn't know. I mean, I knew who I was, like, spiritually and altruistically, and who I was, right? But I didn't know, like, the definitions that people would be using to define them, right? And it's like, I lived with this indigenous family for a couple years, and I didn't know until Twitch, like, until meeting other families and knowing that, because they had a different word for it, but I didn't know what land back was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but the funny thing is I was all a part of that culture. I was about land stewardship, which was about restoring land and bringing nature back into a harmony and being able to enjoy what nature gives you by caring for it. And that's basically, like, some of its core principles. And that's kind of part of being the survivalist that I was, and why I have, like, this huge, like, heart-wrenching feel, part of me that's, like, so sad that I left it, because I feel like I've joined what, again, in my Rasta part of me would say, I've gone back into Babylon, into the concrete jungle, and I've no longer a part of that nature that I once was connected with, where I was able to give love to the planet. And that was a different place for me. And so then finding this community and being introduced to what it actually is and what their cultures have all identified with it, I've gone, oh fuck, man, I am really not alone. Like, there's other folks who care about this in the same way that I used to. Well, still do, but just the way I found it.
Yeah.
But, we were squatters. We were squatters in our land back journey.
Oh, shit.
So we could have gotten in trouble at any time. So who knows? But we didn't. We were fine for years.
Yeah, really?
I think it was probably... Yeah, it's probably because it was state property and there's just no one harassing us. But
yeah, nobody's gonna come in and fuck with you,
Yeah, we had a whole farm and we lived there. It was nice.
I'm teasing somebody in my chat that's, like, really mad at me because I said that it wasn't communism, it was state capitalism, and they said it's the same thing, and I'm like, well, yeah, it kind of is, except for the fact that the capitalism part is, like, big C capitalism in the sense that the oligarchy is keeping all the money and not distributing it back to the workers, which in order for communism to be communism, it's got to distribute back to the workers,
It's eventually going to have to let go of its state power. If it wants to be communism, it's got to let go of that state power and give it to the people.
That's right.
That's the whole point. If it doesn't let go of that state power, it's not communism.
It's a monopoly on power, yeah.
That's right. And then how are they going to retain that power? What's going to end up being the thing that retains that power?
The capital. That's why you have
violence. Violence.
Yep.
That's the only way you can retain capital is violence. The threat of violence, the monopoly on violence, fucking cops, tiki torches.
You're like, you mean it's a monopoly? Marx was wrong. I'm not getting into this fucking conversation right now. I'm not going into philosophy with you. We're bullshitting and drunk.
That's where I go into, like, hey, I'm an altruist and an abolitionist. I live in this realm of reality where, sometimes people are fucking terrified of words like communism.
Yeah.
But you know what they aren't terrified of? Fucking families loving each other and making food for each other.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of those things. They just need to know that that's actually a possible way to live.
Yeah, I mean, I'd invite you to my barbecue, bro.
Fucking A. That's right. I make some bitchin' ass ribs.
Let's
go.
Would
love it. And so, yeah, and so I try to incorporate that. In reality, if we think that a revolutionary movement is going to occur before the economic or the natural breakdown. You know what I mean? Environmental breakdown or economic breakdown. If we're going to achieve some form of revolution, I have a feeling that they're going to have to redefine what the movement will be, because there's so much terror involved in all of this history of authority and how we can let it go. Like how much anarchy is villainized.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In the same sense that even,
well, because people think of it as like fucking no government, and what it really means is self-rule amongst the people, like no centralized
social contracts, that we already are accustomed to.
Yeah.
Just expanding on it with a little bit more respect.
Yeah, exactly.
Teaching each other respect. What a fucking concept.
And not allowing for economic hierarchies, like, which ultimately is the root cause of a lot of our problems,
And we'll see even communists and anarchists will clash and fight each other. Like the person in your chat is upset because you're not matching the exact definition that you want your society to be, and it's like, well, why do we have to be so trapped and wrapped up in these definitions when we're really all talking about caring about each other? And we could just use this idea of, what we know, altruism. It's not that far.
It's funny because when I first started my stream, I wasn't going to do a whole lot about cannabis. I was going to smoke cannabis on screen, but it was really going to be about, like, my whole premise was about how the left eats itself, cannibalizes its own existence, and but I had a lot of material for it, and I burned through it pretty quick, and there's always more, but it's like the more that occurs is just such bullshit drama that I don't even want to invest my time and effort into fucking talking about it. And I started realizing, like, why don't we just build up the movements we want to create and talk to each other who are good faith and care about what's happening and try to make some change or discuss how we can make change, and lament the shitty fucking current capitalist system that we currently live in, and enjoy that, like sometimes that's okay, like, yeah. It doesn't always have to be like, monumental fucking change through Twitch or debating a fucking Nazi. As a matter of fact, I'd rather do anything but debate a fucking Nazi,
Anything but.
Because I got nothing to say to them, and I don't want them talking to my fucking chat or harassing my people or, like, fuck them. They don't get my time,
I absolutely relate. Like, in this, I had this whole thing of, like, I didn't know what it was until I've been streaming. As I've been streaming, I'm coming up almost on a year, and since January, so the last 6 months, I've realized that the identity that I wish to kind of encompass is being a revolutionary. I want to take any kind of behavior that would stop our movement from being successful and reject it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, we have no sense in debating fascism. We know it's bad. We know capitalism is bad. Why are we discussing the obvious? It's counter-revolutionary to keep talking in these circles when the reality is we got to help our neighbors find a way to unionize against their landlords.
Exactly. Yes.
For example, one of my chatters is, and I'm gonna call them out wherever my friend is. I can't remember. I'm fucking such a horrible memory with names. But regardless, my friend who has their landlord wants to up their rent $523.
So I'm gonna tell you a story. That's interesting. Let me tell you something.
It's like, we need to stop this shit.
I know where you're at. I live in a fucking Cracker Jack box right now. I live in an 814 square foot Cracker Jack box. Right now I'm streaming to you from my living room because my partner has fucking terminal illness and can't be disturbed when she sleeps because it's really hard for her to sleep. And so, you know, I'm not even in a fucking great situation personally. And a lot of it has to do with the fact, and I mean space-wise, economically I'm fine, but space-wise, you know, and it's because like the fucking Arizona market's fucked. Like, so I was in a house where I was paying roughly the same as what I'm paying for my mortgage now. About $200 more, I think. I had a backyard and all that shit.
You're in a park?
Yeah, in a park? I wish. No.
Like a...
No, it was a house. It was a house. Like I had a home.
Oh no! I mean, like currently you're in a what is it called?
I'm in a townhome complex or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Complex. Oh, yeah. Right.
So basically, like fucking, I'm in this place with my dogs, and I've got a Rottweiler German Shepherd mix, you know, and then I've got another, at that time I had another dog that was like a Pity Chocolate Lab mix. So good luck trying to find another rental, you know, like they were registered as service dogs, which does make it just supposed to be a walk-in anyways, but sometimes if they happen to see the dogs or whatever, it still creates problems. So I've gone through that already. So anyways, I've been in this place for several years, and every year they tried to up the rent. I had one bedroom that the AC wouldn't go to, and if you close the door, it could get up to 120 degrees in the bedroom. I had another bedroom that get up to about 90, 95 degrees because of the same reason. The ventilation was so bad. The property management company wouldn't correct the problems with the ventilation. They would send somebody out, and as soon as they told them the price of what it would cost to fix it, they'd make some excuse why they couldn't get it done. And so we lived in this 3-bedroom house that was actually otherwise a pretty nice house, just need ducting reworked, you know. For like 5 years, where 2 of the bedrooms just had no air conditioning in Arizona in the summertime, you know.
Yeah.
And I worked from home, you know. And so the last year we were there, you know, it was COVID season, and fucking property prices in Arizona went through the fucking roof, rentals, everything. And fucking, they said to renew the lease, it was going to cost another like $800 a month. And I'm like, I have 2 bedrooms that don't even get fucking air conditioning. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you want to up my rent $800 a month and you won't fix the air conditioning? Our fucking dishwasher doesn't work? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know, no. And at that point, I was like, fucking no. We're fucking out, dude. We are out.
Yeah, that's, you know?
What
they want you to do is move out, though.
And that's fine because, you know, because that was my only choice. You know, that really was my only choice, you know, so it's fine. Yeah, I'll take the get out. Because now you got to pay to fix that ducting, because nobody's going to rent or buy the place with the fucked up ducting. And the pictures we have of what the attic looks like, because the insulation was so old and had been torn up, and there was so much dirt and shit that had been caught up in the attic because it had this weird vent in the front of the house where, like, when we get sandstorms and shit, everything would go straight in there. Like, good luck. We posted the shit all over Yelp. We made sure that people knew like what the property looked like inside and out. Like, I fucking made sure. They were trying to pay me to take the pictures down off of Yelp and shit, and I was like, nope, not fucking taking them down. You guys can deal with this shit. Like, you want to rent this property out, you better fix it. You know, like, you better do right by somebody. It had an unfinished front and backyard too, so it was just dirt in the front and dirt in the back. It was fucking bullshit, you know. So there was that part too, but
and that's the whole thing too, is like, see, what you could have done is like, who knows what it is in your area, because everyone's area, you know, everyone's, you know, city is going to be different. But if you did the research, I mean, I can't speak for myself because mine does have a group. So like, I have a phone number I can call, and they got a whole group of people that will help kind of connect something together. Mm-hmm. And it's things like, all you needed to do was talk to all of your neighbors. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Get to know your neighbors, get all of them around and say, hey, they want to up my rent this fucking much. You guys going through this shit? Do you think this is right?
Well, see, that's the thing is it was a house. Like we were renting a house. So I couldn't do that because
part of a group though, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was part of. Well, I'll tell you the group because nobody should ever fucking rent through them. The name of the group is Invitation Homes, and if you ever rent through Invitation Homes, they're fucking horrible. They absolutely are. They will exploit their fucking residents to no fucking end. They will.
They don't even have to own the properties. They don't even have to own the properties to function. What they do is they basically property owners will go through them to rent their houses for them.
Yeah. But they also do this thing where they take foreign investors that come into town on these tours of neighborhoods and like point out houses that they want them to invest in so they can all like profit off of, and they invest in a pool of houses and they all profit off the rent made off of those houses. That's
what I'm saying is in all those houses they were on a record enough to where if there was a group to help you get in contact with all the people that are your neighbors, your quote unquote neighbors, because they're all part of the same reliance on this company, you know?
Yeah.
These landlords don't deserve to do this shit. In a mom and pop, like a fucking single landlord, you know, like a grandmother who's renting out her second house isn't doing that to their fucking tenants. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think collectively most people can say that's not the people we're talking about. You know, like the grandma renting out the guest house on her property to the college kid is not the person we're worried about.
Although my grandmother is kind of like that. She has 3 homes in California, and I kind of curse her name often because she's a landlord who would rather rent to strangers than her family.
Oh, that's fucked.
But. Yeah, so fuck that landlords. But no, but like I was saying, there is that part where it's just like, you know, though, like even though my fucking landlord grandmother, who I'm mad at, she wouldn't do that to her tenants because she's not a corporation who can get away with upping rent on fucking 1,000 properties for $800.
Yeah.
They can choke it.
That company can afford to lose that because you know who's going to move in there? Some fucking hipster family that's got a bunch of money that's going to upgrade the property for them. That company is not going to pay them to upgrade the property. Those suckers are going to do it because they want it to look cool and hip because they're in a gentrified neighborhood and they're going to be artsy, you know. They're going to do the work for the corporation, and then when they decide to move on or can no longer afford the house because their trust fund runs out, you know, they're going to move out, and that corporation is going to get an upgraded house for free $99, baby. Oh, yes.
And their whole thing, too, is that when they do those massive rent hikes, you know, they're kind of actually wanting some of them to go vacant. Their idea is they can handle a percentage, probably like, you know, a large percentage, like fucking 20% of them going vacant planned. They already, the new rent hikes already have that overhead taken care of.
Yeah. Well, because they had already been hiking rents just a little bit less for the past like 4 or 5 years anyways, you know. It's just like this was going to be the big one. This was going to be where they're going to decide who are the winners and who are the losers. You know, like.
I was so lucky. Because, see, like, we moved to Michigan because Nevada was being fucking bought up by Tesla and Amazon. And our rent went from renting a 3-bedroom house for $800 to a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,400. Like that's the variance of where our rent was going, and we couldn't afford to live there anymore. So we moved to Michigan, and then we after about a year of living in Michigan, we qualified for a federal grant, and they paid $15,000 on a down payment for our house, and we got a fucking 100-year-old house in the really old side of town for dirt cheap. And now my fucking mortgage is the cheapest it's ever fucking, like I've never lived this cheap in my life.
Nice.
On the paying for the roof scale. Like when I lived in Santa Cruz as a kid and had to rent a shack with a dirt floor, I was paying more.
Yeah, like $1,600 a month for a
I would pay
closet.
$600 a month for a shack with a dirt floor, you know, carpet on dirt, carpet on dirt, you know, and
It
here,
still
here now
counts
I
because
got
it's carpet.
house.
It still counts because
Right.
it's carpet's good. It still counts. There's carpet, even if the dirt seeps through. You know, that's just it's just natural
carpet,
wear.
you know?
It's natural wear. You know. I'm sure that's what the landlord told you, right? Yeah, I feel you on that shit. So much the same, man. Like, and it's funny because so originally I'm from California, I'm from San Diego, and I moved out here when I was very young. Well, first I came out here when I was 6, and then I went back to California when I was 8 or 9. Fuck, maybe I was 9. Yeah, I was 9. I went back to California when I was 9, and then came back to Arizona when I was 12. But I've always considered California, San Diego, my home because the memories were the best there. Like, the people that were most accepting of me were there. Like, when I moved to Arizona, people fucking hated me. They're like, "Look at you, you fucking long-haired hippie," because I had the whole like fucking Cali bleached hair, like fucking bleached blonde hair. I had it all long and shit. You know, I was fucking totally surfered out. You know, wore the fucking all the shit. Vision streetwear. You know, I was fucking G'd out. You know, I had all this shit. Vans checkerboards because I was hot. You know, like I was totally like Cali. You know, they're like a bunch of cowboys, you know, and they're like, "Fuck you, fuck shit, blah, 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 rope and ride them, rope and fucking gonna milk some fucking bulls and shit, suck them off." I mean, oh, wait, you know, wait. But, you know, they were just like, so I got picked on a lot, you know, and because they didn't get it, like, and I was so far... In terms of like, I would get music that would come out like fucking like a year before it hit Arizona because I still had friends in California and I had a lot of friends on the East Coast too. Just because there was this kid Warren that I grew up with when I was really young, and he moved to New York City like about the same time I moved to Phoenix. And so I would get all this fucking music that didn't even come into like the flyover states. And I'd be bumping that shit and people would be like, "You fucking weirdo." And then like 2 years later, they'd be listening to it. "Dude, you don't even fucking know about this band." I'm like, "Yeah, remember when you were trying to kick my ass calling me a weirdo because I was listening to that music? You fucking dick. Now you're telling me I don't know about them? Eat shit, motherfucker. You fucking punk." You know, but yeah, I had shit like that. Yeah, that was definitely a thing.
I was listening to a lot of old school reggae, and then that's when and then Sublime got really big.
Yeah.
And I remember when a lot of bands kind of similar styles would be around, and I would kind of like, you know, just be like, "Oh yeah, you know, that California reggae."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's always what I call a SoCal reggae. That's all I knew what to call it. You know, I have a friend. They're actually pretty good. There's a band in Arizona called Urban Life, HERB and Life. You know, and they're fucking cool as hell. I've known them forever. Like their original singer. Well, they had 2 singers, but the other singer died in a car accident. Like, long ass fucking time ago, DUI type shit, you know, drunk driving. And so like but I had followed them since like they first started because they were younger than me, you know, and like I was playing music too. And I was playing metal music, you know, I was like doing metal industrial type shit, and they were doing that kind of shit, and I was like, yeah, but they're good, you know, they're really good. They got like a style of their own, and there's like a little bit more of a hip hoppy and like techno east side thing going on that like the singer that passed away was trying to do, because he wanted to do like it was almost like Sublime with like fucking trip hop or something, you know what I mean? Like that was like what he was trying to do, and the other guy was kind of like more rappy but with like Sublime-y type shit, you know, and like So it kind of took them more rappy with Sublime type shit, but they're still fucking solid. They're really good. They're really, really fucking solid band. But it was just interesting, like watching their development and being like, okay, like this is what music looks like. This is the shape of it, you know. And but I remember being like, same thing, like SoCal reggae, SoCal feel good, so like, because I was also hesitant to call it reggae too, because like I was like, it's kind of appropriation, you know. I don't want to do the appropriation thing. So I was like, is it reggae? I mean, none of these guys are even Jamaican, you know, like, and they're definitely not singing about Ja Love, you know. Like, so.
There was a band in Santa Cruz that kind of had something similar with that, with the Expendables. The Expendables.
Yes, the Expendables are awesome. Yes, I know the Expendables.
You know the Expendables.
Absolutely.
Okay. I fucking used to. I went to a show of theirs that was just outside of oh my god, the Surf Break.
Oceanside?
It was a dog shit show. It was a dog shit show. It was outside of Mavericks. Oh my god, Mavericks. Because the band's from Santa Cruz.
Okay.
They're playing in this small town fucking like carnival show outside of Mavericks. And I fucking went there and I had like it was just after I came back from my whole grow thing. And so I was smoking fucking blunts in the fucking crowd, and they were like, "Hey, you want to come and smoke with us?" And I was like, "All right, you guys had some good songs. Let's go." And we fucking went out to their fucking like minibus, their band bus.
Mm-hmm.
And we fucking I just got them lit through the roof. And
yes.
Their manager Donovan, he did a lot of their dub mixing, and I was trying really, really hard to push old school reggae on him. It was like, because you know how the Expendables have it. It's like a reggae surf music with a punk chorus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a cool blend. And I would always say, hey guys, you just got to get rootsier with your reggae, get down in that shit, and then that's how you get them. You know, you get everyone dancing, and then you swing it.
Yeah.
And
then get them skanking. Yeah.
Right. That's right. So I was always
you got to
trying
get them
introduce
grooving from the
into
hips and get their butts moving before you make them kick everybody in the shins.
That's right. You gotta have a good time before everyone gets rowdy. And but yeah, I always told them that's what you gotta do. Is I remember giving them a lot of shit. Like, you just gotta listen to some older reggae. I promise you guys, it'll do you good. That was a long time ago, man. Fuck, that was a long time ago. And I would always make fun of them. I always wanted them to play this song called Death Pit.
Hey, you ever hear of a band called Slightly Stupid?
Yes.
Yeah, Kyle and Miles. Like, I remember Kyle.
I never got this. I think I never got to really see any of their shows though.
Kyle used to work at a 7-Eleven in San Diego, and fucking, I had even been into the 7-Eleven and didn't know he was the cashier. Like, he just had like show flyers on the fucking. He had show flyers on the counter, you know, like where the register was. He's like, "Hey man, you should just, like, check out our show." And I was like, I love fucking Slightly Stupid. He's like, "Oh yeah?" He's like, I'm the singer. I was like, "You're the singer?" Oh, because I was there from Arizona, like, just bullshitting. Like, I was like, "You're the singer?" "Yeah, you guys go to Arizona all the fucking time, right?" He's like, I was like, "Do you know so and so?" I don't want to dox anybody, but like, I started talking to him about people that I knew. He's like, "Oh fuck yeah, bro!" And like, he's like, fucking sat out for that place and fucking smoked the joint real quick. Like, yeah, because we knew a lot of the same people because of me making music. It's weird. The Arizona scene, surprisingly, you could make any style of music and know people that make music in any other style of music. It's just the way it is. The community is so tight that way, you know?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's funny how those small town bands like all fucking get around.
Oh, Mixed Matty B is trying to tell me I missed 4 hours and 20 minutes. He's mad at me
Oh
now.
shit!
Oh,
13
they're
minutes
mad at
ago.
me now. I'm sorry.
My crowd doesn't remind me like that. That I smoke so much that they don't need to remind me.
Sam,
You know,
my connector's been hitting kind of soft lately, so I've been having to like hit it a couple times. I think the battery's going on me.
like I have that. What we have is because I'll pack a bowl and I'll forget to smoke it. And so I'll have a bowl ready to go, and I'll be like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna smoke this bowl," and then I'll put the bowl down, and I'll never fucking smoke it. And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was supposed to smoke that bowl." And so we have a counter for how many times I forgot to smoke.
We used to have a thing where like every time I said fuck, I'd have to fucking do a dab, but the number got so high it was abusive. Like I was like, this is gonna be toss.
Well, shit, man.
But yeah, they like
Thanks for coming on and shooting the shit.
Oh, for sure. Does your audience want to see what I've been smoking off of?
Is the doodle psychedelic enough for you, Jason?
The doodle.
That's awesomely psychedelic. I love it.
Don't worry, it's gonna get worse.
Oh yeah. Does your audience want to see what I'm actually smoking off of? Because I'm not gonna lie, I do like to show it off.
Let's see it.
So, this is my Blazy Susan. That's where all my weed shit
Lazy
is.
Susan.
And this is the Stunden glass. That's what I've been hitting off of.
Oh, I've seen those things bubbling up. See, you know what? I
Yeah,
always
so
worry
I'm
about
sitting
stale
here flipping
smoke.
this the whole time.
Does that ever have the stale smoke issue? Because I
Well-
always worry about stale smoke.
Well, while it's off camera, I'm sitting here flipping it and pushing out the stale smoke. But yeah, I am very diligent about that because yes, you can get stale smoke in it. So, but the good thing is the majority of the time, like it's the way that it's set up, it just fucking it pushes out the fucking smoke so quick that it doesn't hold on to it. Like a lot doesn't stay in the chamber. Like you're only having to flip it once more and like it's all gone, you know?
Nice, nice.
So you just have to keep it clean. That's the thing.
Well, dang, my friend. I mean, I have to say, it was a pleasure to meet you.
You too. I was glad to be able to talk with you.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's like I was saying, my kind of goal is to kind of like help people share how they fucking made it because or are making it or how they've cope with it is kind of what we're saying because we're all coping. Where every day it's struggle, and
Every day
I
I'm
mean,
struggling. Yep.
shit. What did I say? Is like it feels like any one of us is like one car accident, one bad day outside away from just the worst of this system has the offer.
Yeah, and I know I'm drinking wine, but believe me, I'm drinking $12 wine. Okay, like I'm not rich. This is poor people wine. It literally is Snoop Dogg wine, you know? Like, okay.
Snoop Dogg wine. It reminds me of the Mitch Hedberg joke. He says, hey, I saw a wino eating grapes once, and I said, hey, man, you gotta wait.
I love Mitch Hedberg. Thank you for that. I always appreciate a good Mitch Hedberg joke.
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
Right on.
Well, again, like, thank you so much. You know, again, if you want to tell everyone who you are and where they can find you, and
Sure.
yeah,
I am Jason Society, Jason_Society on Twitch, Jason Society, all one word on Twitter. And if you really want to get a treat, you can go watch some of my VODs about Stonercast, where Squid has been on. He is an alumnus. Yes, he is. Or you can watch it when it happens at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern every Sunday, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get Squid to come on again.
Definitely. It's just so like, I have a super strict schedule. I'm a stay-at-home dad. My partner, she's not the most supportive in this. So like, I'm only allowed to have my hours of 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Friday. And she's like, mama on me.
Whoa.
And so I have to fight for the weekend slots, and it's okay. It's okay. It's just, it's hard to do sometimes.
Well, I will give you an alternative at some point if you ever want to take it up. We are also doing, since I did a one-on-one with you here, we also do, we're doing a new thing called Stonercast Sessions, nice. Where I bring on just one person, usually somebody that's been on a Stonercast. That's the idea, somebody that's been on a past Stonercast, to come on and just do a one-on-one conversation bullshit. And that's going to be in the middle of the week. So if you want to do that too.
Hey, that sounds great. Yeah, definitely. I would like that.
Fucking A.
And again, like, I'll definitely, it's not that Stonercast is out. It's just, one day, yes.
Mindful of the time. Just got to be mindful of the time, yes.
Right. It'll happen again. It's just, it takes a minute, you know?
Yeah, perfectly good. It's okay, my friend. I understand. I have the same thing. Like, believe me, it seems like I get to spend a lot of time on here, but it's like there are moments where it's like, okay, you got to get off now, and you'll see me abruptly leave. And that's that.
There's those. Well, the hope is if I can get some kind of success doing something, then I get to do more. I have a big basement here, and if I'm able to do well enough, I can move this whole thing from my bedroom down to the basement.
I got I hope you got a big basement, because I'm gonna put my stream in it.
The streamer in there, and I can have my lazy boy. Oh my gosh! Do you know Radical Maniac?
Yes, I love that friend, shit. That shit's so
oh my
cool.
goodness! He's such a good friend of mine, and I told him, man, if I get my lazy boy, I'm gonna be passing out on my stream all the time. Just watch. I'm gonna be the one who passes out, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, there's Squid sleeping in his lazy boy."
Well, I've had my falling asleep incidents on stream. I even have a sound alert for it now, because there's this Pretzel Rocks fucking lo-fi music that was like for recurring so much on my stream for a while. I don't know why. Pretzel Rocks just kept playing this one, and it's really annoying. But like, it's just like me snoring while this fucking music is playing. It is fucking so fucking funny. So I'm not gonna lie, when I'm in debates with people, because I do fucking debates. I'll go in and do the blood sports with people and shit. When somebody says something incredibly boring, or they drone on and on, like Fabian Liberty, for example, the snore gets queued up. It gets queued up in the middle of the debate, and they can't hear it, but my audience can, and I'm laughing about it.
That's good. That's funny. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so we'll have to definitely set some shit up. I'll be clipping this up and making some videos out of it. So like, my goal, what I'm gonna be doing is I want to make some tutorial videos on StreamerBot.
Okay.
Because I've switched my whole operation to StreamerBot, and I noticed that a lot of people like it, and I've noticed it's kind of difficult to get everything you want to do as a streamer. It's not like there's a lot of videos out there or how-tos, and it's kind of complicated.
Yeah,
it's not like it's horrible. It's just sometimes.
Well, anytime you have an open source product, like, the knowledge base is usually not very good, because they have very low budget, and the one thing that's expendable, unfortunately, is a knowledge base. It's like, if you know how to use this type of software, you'll get it. If you don't, yep. Hold on to your pants, you'll figure it out.
I use a combination of StreamerBot and Touch Portal, and both of them allow me to do some pretty cool stuff on my stream. And now that I don't have to use Stream Elements or Streamlabs or Nightbot or any of them, I don't have to use any of them. It's all on my computer now, and it's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I got a pretty beefy computer, man. Like, we should talk about that off stream. Like, I'd definitely like to know more about it and fucking understand
That's what I'm
it.
saying. I gotta start making some videos.
So, you could make some videos tutorializing me.
True.
I'll help.
And it's not too bad.
I'll critique them if you need QA. I'll QA your videos. Like, go through it and see how it works for me, and then I'll tell you, hey,
right.
bro. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, cause like the latest one, the latest update that they had on it, and see, I'm totally bragging. They introduced coffee and Patreon support, so like I can have on-screen stream alerts when people contribute to coffee or Patreon.
Oh, that's fucking dope, dude. That is dope because that doesn't exist right now. That's fucking hot.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
That.
That's like, ooh, this is kind of next level here.
They're doing the thing.
Yeah,
and
they got this other thing where I made an end credits thing for when I'm closing off my stream and raiding out. In the end credits actively updates itself based on who comes into the show and what happens. Like it automatically assigns them into lists.
Oh hell yeah, dude! That's fucking rad.
Right.
So what's it pulling like from who you pull into a Discord channel or something?
No, it's actually just HTML code and a little bit of fucking a little bit of what is it?
Like an API script or some shit? It's like fucking
because it pulls it from Twitch. It pulls the information from Twitch. It has its own little special tab in it.
Hell yeah. That's dope as fuck.
It has a lot of cool shit. I mean, it's taken me a while to figure it all out, but now that I figured it out, it's like, ooh, hey, you know?
See, like, I really like doing the political thing, but what I noticed about a lot of the political streamers and shit that I want to incorporate that they don't have is, like, really cool fucking graphical ideas and shit. Like I love what you do. I love the aesthetic of your stream. I love the aesthetic of Great Job Spaghetti's stream. Like, or even Aiko's. Aiko is pretty good with like how her treehouse is and shit. Like, it's just like you guys are really good at like making this space that just feels so fucking comfortable, you know, like, and I love that, you know.
I have a guy, Spaceman Steven Douglas. If you've ever seen that stream before, that's the name of the stream on Twitch. He's like a dude. He has this whole theme where he's in a space station, and he used to work for an Amazon, or was it Amazon? I think he worked for Amazon, and he got beamed up to a space station. He's been trapped in the space station for ages, and he's been watching videos, and he's like just dealing with shit in space, and it's so fucking hilarious. It's like
nice.
The production.
No, I gotta see that shit.
Production value's up there. Like the first episode, on Twitch. The first episode I watched, he went around and blew up Elon Musk's satellite.
Nice. Yes. Let's go. I just did a crowd cheer for you on that for my stream. You can wave. Thank you.
Yeah, Spaceman Steven Douglas is an awesome stream. I love watching the production value of it. It influences me. Like, I have my portholes on my stream, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I want to make that part of a submarine. The portholes are a part of a submarine. And then I'm going to have my own little part where I use the steering wheel back there. Mm-hmm. And I'll like totally go on journeys in the deep sea and fight the Kraken and shit. Yeah. You know?
The capitalist Kraken.
Right. That's right. We got to fucking lay waste to the.
That's what you should call him. That's what you should call him. The capitalist Kraken. Kraken the capitalist.
We'll have our little submarine.
And every adventure will just be like doing news stories and talking about how shitty these people are, and then fighting back against the capitalists. And at the end of it, you defeat the capitalist Kraken at the end of your stream.
I see. Yeah.
It's like you're playing a video game, but it's like what you're going to talk about the whole stream, you know?
Oh, it's so funny.
And at the end, you get to always defeat the Kraken.
I only get sad because he only streams once a week. And it's like, oh man, if only you could stream more. Your show is so fucking good.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
But
That
I
sounds
wanna-
like a
I
lot
wanna
of fun.
I want to add that kind of entertainment value to it, you know, because
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love having my like revolutionary rants. Like when I have a good rant on like trying to fucking help motivate people to maybe even just doing their own art and stuff. That stuff really helps. I mean, it fucking feels good to me.
Yeah,
you know?
same. Yeah. When
And
you
so-
get a good one, when you know you got a good one, you're like, "Ugh."
Right. And there's this whole part where like I want to keep that but also add a bit more fun because, well, fuck, man. This shit's rough, you know. I don't want
Yeah.
I think the part that we get stuck in is that, you know, what the meme is that being a leftist is constantly being eternally doomed and eternally hopeful at the same time. Like you're just dealing with, oh fuck, we're totally fucked, and well, it's inevitable. So it doesn't matter how fucked we are because it's inevitable. And one day it's gonna be fucking amazing.
So I'm horrible because I'm forgetting the name of the woman socialist, and she was a major influence on the socialist movement. But she has this quote, and she says, "I will not be in a revolution with no dancing."
That's right. That's
You know?
right.
And like I think so, like with my stream, I always keep that fucking like kind of that philosophy tucked in the back of my head. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to talk about some doomer shit tonight. And we're going to talk about possible solutions. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to fucking light it up. And we're going to listen to music. And we're going to fucking watch funny shit. And we're going to laugh. And we're going to get high. And we're going to enjoy each other's company. Because guess what? It's more than just fucking fighting a revolution for the sake of fighting a revolution. We're fighting for the idea that we can make a better life for one another. And one of the biggest revolutionary moves we can make is enjoying each other's company. Because
Hell yeah.
they don't want us to be happy together. They always want us to be fighting amongst each other. So being happy together and being able to collectively just be like, let's laugh for a minute. Let's listen to a bumping ass song. Oh, that's just banging, you know, like, you know, so that's kind of how I look at it, you know. I'll give you a dose of the reality, but then you know what? I'm gonna pull everybody together and be like, let's get the feel goods, you know. Let's get it in us, you know, like because we're gonna need those feel goods to fight, and I want you feeling good and ready, you know. And when we gotta go out and make our stances, whether that's through demonstrations or electoralism or talking to our local city council or whatever that may be, like I want everybody to feel good. I want them to get something. I want them to get some good mode out of it before they go out there in that mix, you know, like, so they're doing it for the right reasons, you know.
That's totally it.
Now see the other side, they're gonna fucking play you some angry music and try to get you mad, you know. I'm like, no, we're playing some Curtis Mayfield. Move on up, you know, that kind of shit, you know. Like I'm gonna fucking make you feel positive, you know, and we're gonna lead with positivity. That's how you gotta do it. Let's go, baby. So that's it.
Again,
thank you so much.
thank
I
you
know I'm dragging on.
oh no, you're fine. I fucking love it. I love it. It's the whole thing, you know.
Let's
you know,
go.
as I continue to get more comfortable doing this, I hope to do it more, and then hopefully I'll be able to bring people back and we can talk about other shit too.
Oh yeah,
you know?
man. I'd always be happy to come back and talk to you about anything under the sun, or even just bullshit about the day, man. You're a cool cat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Hey, have a great night.
Take it easy.